for Ben & Jerry's homemade ice cream. But it was not the last time their business strategy or their ideals were challenged.
Discover the secrets behind the best-known product on the planet, Coca-Cola. The real story behind the real thing. November 11th on CNBC. First in business worldwide.
Because we don't spend as much time outside as we'd like, we're developing lighting solutions to help bring the benefits of natural outdoor light indoors.
I volunteered. Was drafted.
I enlisted.
I was nervous.
And there I was in Asia, Europe,
the Gulf, and I saw things.
Incredible things.
and people you never forget.
I did my job.
For my country.
My buddies.
For total strangers.
And I was proud.
So grateful.
For my family.
My freedom.
For all who served and all who serve, we can never thank them enough.
Closing bell? What closing bell? At Forex.com, take advantage of trading opportunities in the euro, yen, US dollar, and other currencies 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. Open a free practice account at Forex.com and test your trading strategies risk-free. Then when you're ready, just click and trade. Forex.com, over-the-counter currency trading on your schedule at your fingertips. Just try that with stocks. Go to Forex.com.
Euro Home Expo is a chain of stores where you can shop for beautiful custom-made curtains, drapes, blinds, and window hardware. Euro Home Expo offers more than 2,000 styles of fabrics from Europe, and our highly qualified technicians and designers will create your drapery exclusively for your home and business. You can also choose from over 100 styles of bedding and linen sets from Europe. Our collection of over 600 styles of wallpapers will pleasantly surprise you. Visit our showrooms and let Euro Home Expo make your windows the best dressed in town.
Daydreaming? Yeah, thinking about advancing my career, doing something to make a difference, you know? Yeah, you could say that. Hey, you're you, yep. After you decide to make that dream a reality and go to Metropolitan College of New York and get your master's in education. How did I afford that? MCNY worked with us to make sure we got some great financial aid, and I was certified to teach in 1 year. Where are you going? To call MCNY. Good, you can do this. Call 1-800-33-THINK.
By 1984, Ben & Jerry's homemade ice cream in Burlington, Vermont was a huge success. Sales now top $4 million a year. The company's achievement was due in part to coming up with unique solutions to business problems. In 1985, after 3 years in Arizona, Jerry Greenfield and Elizabeth moved back to Burlington. Jerry began spending a lot of his time at the company.
Eventually, I was spending enough time there that Ben and the other folks there suggested that I get paid for it.
That year, Ben & Jerry's broke ground for its new ice cream plant. But the company was growing so fast, it soon became clear that a plant expansion was needed.
In order to afford the addition to the new facility, we decided to do another stock offering, this one offered on a national basis.
With the stock offering, the company would formalize its social mission with the creation of the Ben & Jerry's Foundation. It would be funded by pre-tax profits. Financial advisors pushed for 5%.
The first time Ben sees it in print, he says it's not enough. And I think we argued back and forth. He wanted 10, and I think I got him to compromise at 7.5%.
Becoming a publicly traded company would make Ben & Jerry wealthy and finance the expansion of their business. It would also put them under a new set of business rules that could threaten their ideals. By 1987, Ben & Jerry's was a successfully run business. Elizabeth now wanted Jerry to turn his attention toward marriage.
Jerry just thought the idea of marriage was just kind of like, why should we bother with that? And then we went on vacation to the Virgin Islands, and so I thought, well, here's my chance.
Jerry and Elizabeth were married on February 26, 1987 on Maho Bay. Soon after, Ben took a plunge when he married Cindy Cole, a psychologist. The two had met when Ben gave a commencement address at the school where she worked. On November 13th, 1988, Jerry's son Tyrone was born. Elizabeth says their son has Jerry's temperament.
They do both have a stubborn streak. Once they've decided they're right about something.
Ben's daughter Aretha was born a year and a half later on July 31st, 1990. Ben says Aretha could someday follow in his footsteps.
If she wanted to move in that direction, she could have quite a future in the land of desserts.
Things were on track in Ben & Jerry's personal and professional lives. The company was doing business in a way that Ben felt was socially responsible. Along with only using Vermont milk in their ice cream, Ben & Jerry's decided to seek out alternative suppliers for their ice cream ingredients. When Ben & Jerry's needed brownies, it turned to a bakery in Yonkers, New York that employed the homeless and recovering addicts to help them get back on their feet.
It was such a perfect marriage and a perfect opportunity for us to use a value-led supplier.
Values-led also meant designing products with social benefit. Ben came up with a product that he hoped would help save the rainforests in Brazil.
The thing about Brazil nuts is that they've never been successfully cultivated. So any Brazil nut has been grown in the wild, harvested. So I came up with this idea of making a Brazil nut butter crunch.
The result was Ben's Rainforest Crunch ice cream. The ice cream created a demand for Brazil nuts.
It certainly got a bunch of money going back to groups that were working to preserve the rainforest. It was in the forefront of rainforest-based products.
Ben & Jerry's inspiration for new products also came from politics. In 1988, Ben & Jerry's protested President Ronald Reagan's military spending by launching its 1% for Peace campaign. It came out with Peace Pops.
I kind of said that we really have an opportunity to use the packaging instead of talking about what a great product this is and how
Delicious,
this is
rich,
the
and
world's
creamy.
Finest, whatever the heck, to use packaging to promote the idea of using 1% of the U.S. Department budget for peace through understanding activities.
They knew taking such political stands were risky for business.
Was it appropriate for a business to take a stand on an issue like peace? And there was concerns about how our distributors and retailers would feel about it, and how much of a risk was it from a business perspective?
In fact, sales were better than ever. By 1988, Ben & Jerry's had grown to an ice cream powerhouse, with annual sales exceeding $47 million. That same year, President Reagan honored them as U.S. Small Business Persons of the Year.
We win this national award, which was so ironic when you think about it, because Ronald Reagan and George Bush Sr. handing us this award for being people that were completely opposed to everything they stood for.
In 1990, Ben & Jerry took on President George Bush and the Persian Gulf War. They wrote a letter to the president and put it in the New York Times. The letter was signed by Ben & Jerry's and 17 other companies. The headline was, "An Unnecessary War."
The distinction of it was company speaking through their logos. It wasn't Ben Cohen of Ben & Jerry's, it was Ben & Jerry's.
Ben kept pushing and wanting the business to move more and more in an innovative, socially responsible way.
But that commitment would soon be overshadowed by a hard economic fact. The company began to stumble financially, and Ben & Jerry faced the prospect of losing everything they had built.
Money, money, money. Debt, the #1 reason relationships fail.
If you don't get things under control, I'm going to leave.
That's when Gail Voss Oxlade comes to rescue.
You guys are overspending by $1,000 a month.
We're in debt way over our heads, and
Stuff's being taken out of her house.
Accepting her challenge
You promise me you will do anything I ask.
for money.